Undertale is important to me and others for many reasons. It's only recently that I realised the game helped me figure out my gender identity through its use of its many gender diverse characters. So this isn't the video I'd normally make, but because it's Pride Month and also Undertale's 10th anniversary this year, timing couldn't be better. And the whole Deltarune thing as well. All the pieces have come together. I'm gonna assume most of you know what Undertale is, judging by the intro, even if it's just cultural osmosis, so I'm not gonna explain the whole game's lore or whatever. But I will try and explain some of the context here. The gender identities of the protagonist of the game, Frisk, and the first fallen human, Kara or Chara. I'm gonna go with Kara because that's usually how I pronounce it, but it's fine if you see it as another way. So their identities, there have been a bit of a controversial thing. There have been a lot of memes made about their gender identities over the past few years because I think a lot of people weren't really used to having these non-binary characters. These characters, while not the first of their kind, were a lot of people's first experience to non-binary or non-gender specific characters, me included. Both of these characters, especially Frisk, never had much information revealed about them during the game, so a lot of people viewed this as Frisk being a character whose self was left up to player interpretation. Not to mention, if you didn't know beforehand, you'd think naming the fallen human meant naming Frisk, not Kara. Having a vague protagonist like this is pretty common for video games. However, it's clear by Frisk revealing their name and the life they can have after the pacifist route ends, shows that they're their own character. Kara has more about them revealed, dialogue from Asriel giving us some information about their personality as well, but they're still a bit of a mysterious character. Even if not much information is revealed about these two, they can still use they/them pronouns without their gender having to fit into some binary. To me, personally, Frisk and Kara were a bit of an awakening for me as I realised that you could actually use they/them pronouns as they are. They're not just stand-ins for someone not knowing your gender. For a while, these two confused me. They confused a lot of other people as well, I can tell. I didn't understand how someone could be neither a man or a woman. But they were doing it and they never got misgendered and everyone in the game seemed to respect them. And that's what made me realise I could do it too. And that after all I didn't really fit into a frickin' binary either, whoops. After all, us humans are much more complicated than just being one way or another. I mean, it's fine if you identify as like a man or a woman, whatever people don't have to be one of them, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. Chris Deltarune is a bit different. I should just say that I am recording this before 3 and 4 come out, so if there's some new information revealed about Chris's personality, I'm probably not going to be on top of it, but you know. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. Anyway, so Chris Deltarune is a bit different. Unlike Frisk, we see Chris's family, friends, their school life, and even some of their interests/hobbies. For example, it's pretty much shown that Frisk likes playing piano. Although their personality is somewhat vague, it's clear they are their own character, which makes it all the more tragic that they're being controlled by the player, but that's beyond the scope of this video. While these three are the most well known, Undertale has a lot of other non-binary and trans characters. Mad Mew Mew and Mettaton are the best examples of this. Bad Dummy canonically becomes Mad Mew in every timeline. There are also a lot of other characters in the games who use they/them, such as Monster Kid. There's even a random NPC at Undertale that is confirmed to be trans as well. It's this lion character who Mettaton gives her his dress, and we see her as a waitress in Deltarune. There's also characters like Rousey, who is shown to identify in a masculine way but has many traditionally feminine interests and also a more traditionally feminine personality. Susie is like this as well, but in the opposite direction. I remember many people mistaking Mettaton for a woman because of his feminine appearance. Shout out to feminine trans guys. Napsterplug uses they/them as well. I'm assuming that ghosts in Undertale are essentially non-binary at birth and can transition into a more binary gender role if they wish. In other words, between these two games there are a lot of trans and non-binary characters, and queer rep in general, such as the obvious Undyne and Alphys and like Susie and Noelle and plenty more. Trust me, I have my gripes with the fandom, but I will always have a special place for Undertale, for helping me realize who I was.